Whether it's speaking out about her heartbreaking experience with perinatal depression, her relationship with Justin Timberlake, or addressing Diane Sawyer's inaccurate portrayal of her as an eternal virgin, Britney has never been more candid. And nothing has changed in her new memoir, The Woman in Me, where she tells all. In this video, we'll be highlighting all the major revelations from her latest release. Be sure to drop us a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more celebrity updates. Plenty has been said about Britney Spears' upbringing, family, career, and love life in her new memoir, The Woman in Me, but it's the latter that has gotten the most attention. During her relationship with fellow pop star Justin Timberlake, which started in the year 2000, she had an abortion. Spears shares why she decided to get an abortion. "It was a surprise, but not a tragedy," she wrote.
"I love being a mom.
"I love Justin so much. I always expected us to have a family together one day. This was much earlier than I'd anticipated, but Justin definitely wasn't happy about the pregnancy. He said we weren't ready to have a baby in our lives, that we were way too young." At the time, Spears, who has since had 2 children with ex-husband Kevin Federline, didn't personally want an abortion. "If it were up to me alone," she explained, "I never would have done it."
I haven't spoken to her in years.
And yet Justin was so sure he didn't want to be a father. "To this day, it's one of the most agonizing things I have ever experienced in my life." Ouch. Spears' story has not been addressed publicly by Timberlake, who has 2 children with actress Jessica Biel, despite receiving pellets on social media upon the release of this memoir. He has since turned off comments on his Instagram. When she was only in middle school, Spears developed a relationship with alcohol as a result of her parents' drinking habits. "For fun, starting when I was in 8th grade, my mom, Lynn, and I would make the 2-hour drive from Kentwood to Biloxi, Mississippi," Spears writes. "And while we were there, we would drink daiquiris. We called our cocktails toddies. I loved that I was able to drink with my mom every now and then. The way we drank was nothing like how my father, Jamie, did it." When her father drank, Spears described his personality as more depressed and shut down. This was in stark contrast to how she felt when she drank with her mother. "We became happier, more alive, and adventurous," she says.
I feel like that's really important, just to spread joy.
The story has not yet received a public response from either Jamie or Lynn Spears. Spears reveals that she nearly landed the lead role as the actress in The Notebook. This revelation stands out as one of the most joyful and unexpected moments in the memoir. The well-known on-screen love affair between Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams drew inspiration from the Nicholas Sparks novel. "Filming my movie Crossroads wasn't easy for me," Spears writes. "That film was pretty much the beginning and end of my acting career, and I was relieved."
Like all of a sudden, it seems like overnight, just boom, you're famous. It's weird.
But she did mention another film that could have motivated her to step back into the world of acting. "The Notebook casting came down to me and Rachel McAdams," she claims, "and even though it would have been fun to reconnect with Ryan Gosling after our time on the Mickey Mouse Club, I'm glad I didn't do it. If I had, instead of working on my album In the Zone, I'd have been acting like a 1940s heiress day and night." As good as Rachel McAdams was in the film, we feel robbed. The memoir's second half explores Spears' experience of being placed under conservatorship by her father. Spears' conservatorship was described in alarming detail. There were several times where Spears lamented this hypocrisy of her conservatorship. For example, she was somehow deemed capable of performing several nights a week at her Las Vegas residency, despite being mentally incapable of performing basic activities like leaving the house on her own and making standard adult decisions like choosing the type of birth control she wanted. "They said I was too sick to choose my own boyfriend," she writes.
"It's the happiest time of our lives, and we're just enjoying it."
And yet somehow healthy enough to appear on sitcoms and morning shows and to perform for thousands of people in a different part of the world every week. The conservatorship wasn't just a logistical nightmare for Spears. Her conservatorship also took a toll on her emotionally and spiritually. She explained, "Music was my life," she says, "and the conservatorship was deadly for that. It crushed my soul. And unfortunately, it gets worse." During her conservatorship, Spears had no control over her diet whatsoever. "No matter how hard I dieted and exercised, my father was always telling me I was fat," she says. "He put me on a strict diet. It was only chicken and steamed vegetables that Spears ate for years. That would drive anyone up the wall." When Spears asked the conservatorship's chef for real food, the chef responded that he couldn't, as he was working under strict orders from her father. Furthermore, Spears was also placed on a strict financial budget, with only $2,000 a week to spend. While most people would jump up and snatch at this amount with both hands, that money couldn't be spent on just anything. Her purchase request could either be accepted or declined by her conservators. Speaking on these restrictions, Britney pointed out that this was despite the fact that I did 248 shows and sold more than 900,000 tickets in Vegas. Each show paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. In the wake of her freedom from her conservatorship and publication of this memoir, Spears' performing career is now the biggest question. In the final portion of The Woman in Me, Britney acknowledges, "I keep getting asked when I'm going to put on shows again. I confess that I'm struggling with that question.
I'm a very strong woman, so I can only imagine.
I'm enjoying dancing and singing the way I used to when I was younger, and not trying to do it for my family's benefit, not trying to get something, but doing it for me and for my genuine love for it." She continues by saying that being an entertainer was great, but over the past 5 years, my passion to entertain in front of a live audience has lessened. So, what's next for the Princess of Pop? In the book, she writes, "Pushing forward in my music career is not my focus at the moment. Right now, it's time for me to try to get my spiritual life in order, to pay attention to the little things, to slow down. It's time for me not to be someone who other people want. It's time to actually find myself." Media scrutiny was also a big part of Britney's career. There was speculation that Britney had cosmetic surgery, and she was freaked out to see more and more older men leering at her in the audience at her shows. But she doesn't think that this is an accident. For instance, Britney criticizes Diane Sawyer for reducing her to tears with harsh questions after harsh questions about Justin. As she writes, "I should not have been forced to speak on national television, forced to cry in front of this woman who relentlessly pursued me." She also slams Ryan Seacrest for the way he promoted her studio album Blackout on his live radio show in 2007. Instead, Ryan asked Britney numerous questions about her two teenagers, Jaden and Preston. As for her children, Britney also recalls experiencing perinatal depression after giving birth to her first son. Britney is more candid than ever about her refusal to let her mother hold her newborn during the first 2 months of his life. In her memoir, the Toxic Singer writes, "I got a little depressed once I was no longer keeping them safe inside my body. They seemed so vulnerable out in the world of jockeying paparazzi and tabloids. I began to suspect that I was a bit overprotective when I wouldn't let my mom hold Jaden for the first 2 months. It was during this state of depression that Britney Spears went through a divorce from her ex-husband, Kevin Federline. Unfortunately, unable to read the room, paparazzis relentlessly pursued the singer prior to and after the birth of her children. After years of being portrayed as a good girl, the singer recalled shaving her head in 2007 as a you to the world. In another memorable moment, Britney attacked the car of a paparazzi with an umbrella. When the photographer wouldn't leave her alone during one of the worst moments of her life, she snapped, she recalls in her book. But still, after all these years, she's remorseful for her actions. In a show of humanity, Britney included an apology note in her memoir to anyone she had harmed or offended during this period, explaining that she wasn't herself. Britney sure has been through a roller coaster ride. Now that her conservatorship has come to an end, we hope that she will be able to lead a more normal life. Well, as normal as it can be as a superstar. Still, we'd love to know if you read the memoir and what you thought of it. Be sure to let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more celebrity gossip.